Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Live Bold and Boss Up episode.
Welcome.
We are talking about effective ways to attract and attain employees. So we've gotten so many questions about that lately.
Yeah, this is a great question, especially nowadays because the market is so competitive and it's easy to lose good employees as well. So, how do you, first of all, attract them and then how do you retain them?
Yeah.
And
So we have like a huge list of
yeah,
different things,
right.
which we could totally go down the rabbit hole on.
hmm Yeah. And these are things that we've seen some of our clients doing and some of the things that we've gotten feedback on from candidates that they like or that they look for. So, this is from actual conversations we've been having.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, I guess let's start with the hiring process and
Right.
attracting the talents. What are some important things to think about there?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, you could go as far back as just the job description.
Right.
I think even though the job description, it's important because it starts to show the culture of your company right away. So
hmm
if you have fun things in there, if it's if you read it well,
Yeah.
um,
Your job description is essentially like you selling the company and the position to the potential candidates.
right,
So, you know, put the job description in there, the details, and then why do they want to come work for you? Put that in there. Do you have a fun environment? Do you have a fun culture? Maybe add some details in there about the culture or work environment, flexible hours, things like that, some selling points.
right. Why would someone want to come work for you?
Right.
You're selling the company just as much as they're selling themselves, right? When they're trying to get the job.
Yeah. I think that's
Hmm.
first and
I
foremost, the
agree.
job
I
description.
agree.
Second of all, I feel like the whole interview process from the very beginning to the end needs to be as seamless as possible and not dragged out
Yes.
because they're interviewing other places as well.
Right. You need to, once you know you have the position open, post the position, get 3 to 5 candidates. I think, narrow it down quickly to 3 to 5 candidates,
hmm
interview them and move it through the process.
Yeah.
If there's a complete, no win out of that bunch, then, maybe start over, but don't keep those people waiting. That's not going to um give you a good like candidate rating, and it's not a good candidate experience if you keep those candidates waiting,
hmm
and they're not going to say positive things about the company, right? And that's not what you want. You want candidates to really enjoy the process.
Right.
So it's all about selling the company and the role.
Yeah. And they're comparing you to all these other interviews that they have going on. And if it's taking too long or they have a bad experience from the get go, then they're not going to choose you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that second is the hiring process, interviewing, and then even the onboarding. Like have that all buttoned up, bringing them on board, have everything that they need lined up to get started as soon as possible.
Yeah, onboarding is key, especially for those small to mid-sized businesses that don't have a proper training set up or proper, hey, this is your first day, first week, second week, this is what you need to accomplish. That gets really confusing for new hires in small companies because you just throw them to the wolves, and they need to have that connection with the
Right.
company for those first couple weeks, like learning, meeting people,
hmm
understanding the role and just the culture.
Right. And offer a competitive salary and benefits. I think that's super important right now because the market is so competitive. Don't, lowball them with an offer that's, below what they're interviewing for because they're not going to take it and you're just wasting their time and your time. And, have all the benefits, 401k, everything like that you have to offer. Make sure that that's sent to them and talked about, you know, before they accept the offer as well. That all needs to be laid out and competitive.
Yeah, benefits are huge. We're getting candidates questioning the benefits right off the bat. So they want to know, are they within the salary range and what are the benefits? That's huge right now. So as a HR representative or a business owner, you really need to understand the market, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then be prepared to offer additional incentives or have that already up front, like other selling points, like work from home flexibility. What does that look like? Sign on bonus. These are all things to think about and ways to be competitive to, be competitive against these other companies.
Right.
Once they're onboarded, have a good training program in place. Have a top notch training program. How are these people going to learn everything that they need to learn? How are they set up for success? That's important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And I think communication is key from the beginning. So, open communication, what are the expectations? Have all of that laid out.
So, on that note, communication, there's been so many times where the candidate will get the offer, they'll accept, they'll send the sign offer letter, they're doing their background checks, and then they hear nothing from the employer. And they're like, "Well, I haven't heard anything." And that's such a crucial time, the time between them accepting the offer and starting too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all part of the onboarding process. Even though they haven't officially started, you still want to have someone responsible for keeping in touch with those employees. You just
Right.
spent all those hours and energy finding that person. Don't let it dwindle in the onboarding
Right.
sesh.
And I think it's good to talk to your current employees as well and see what they like best, get their feedback. So that way, you know, what do people like about working there? What additional things can you offer that people would like to have? Talk to your current employees, um, get feedback from them, as well as giving feedback to them. But I think that that's important to know, like, what do people like? What don't they like about being there? And it allows them to feel a sense of importance as well. Like my feedback matters.
Hands down. I love that. Yeah.
What else? I think having a good work life balance, especially nowadays, is important. That's what people want over even money. Like they want to feel a sense of, having that, flexibility, feeling a purpose, feeling that they're not just working 24/7. They want to feel a balance.
Yeah. So what do you think for work-life balance? Does that mean, remote opportunities?
I think it does a lot of times mean remote or at least flexibility.
Right.
Like instead of being there from 8 to 5, and then clocking out, like maybe if they're a morning person, they can come in at 7 and leave at 4. Like just allowing a flexibility, that flexibility makes them have that sense of balance a little bit more.
Yeah. I do have those candidates that they tell me, "Oh, I know I stop working at 5, but I go have dinner or whatever and do kind of like the family thing, and then I'm logging back in at 8 at night and working." And if that works for them, I think that should be fine. Whereas maybe the end of business isn't at 5:30 anymore. Maybe it's 10 o'clock at night. Maybe give them time
Right.
to do some work afterwards.
I agree.
hmm That we talked a lot about how to attract employees to the companies, but how about retaining them? You get them, you attract them. How do you keep them?
Right. No, that's very important because once you get these great candidates and you have all like a great team now, good, great employees, how do you keep them around? Because there's other companies out there that are trying to recruit them to go come work for them.
Right.
So, I mean, first I would say you have to have a great culture and a positive work environment. That's like number one to me.
Right. But how
Once
do you get that?
well, once
That's a
every
whole nother ball of wax.
well, I mean, first of all, once you hire the person, the pay is there. I think that you should have a structure set up for raises, promotions, some sort of clear goals set up. And then, I mean, I think that kind of goes with the attracting the talent.
Yeah.
But then even once they're there, every year you should have a clear set of expectations, goals, promotions, raises, and have all that set up.
Right. That reminds me of a comment that I wrote down, like being clear on your expectations for that person. So when you hire them for this title, this job. And if for small to mid-sized businesses, that could change. Like the job enrichment piece could change. Just the what you need them to do could change. So I would say make sure that you're communicative about that and open about that. I feel like there's a lot of candidates who, throughout the interview process, they receive an offer, but maybe the title is slightly different, or even in the interview stage, they change which position that person is for, which is fine, but you really need to communicate that. So keep that open communication
Mm-hmm.
when they start and what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It sounds so simple, but it's really easy to get lost in your job,
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing, and not keeping that new employee
Right.
involved.
And I would also know what's important to that person. Each person is different. So if title's important to one person, make sure you know that. And titles aren't important to everybody. So I think that that's important to know, like what's important to this person, and that's how you're going to keep them. Like if they want to feel valued and maybe one day want to be a manager, know that. So that way you can create a career path for them and have that set up, and have a path for that.
Yeah.
If it's not management and it's more flexibility and having a sense of, you know, independency, working from home, know that.
Right. Know what each employee needs.
Yes.
Right, exactly. That's so funny. I wrote literally that same thing down. Knowing what each of them need, like you said, they might need title changes every so often, or monetary increases, or job enrichment. Just give them more to do. You need to understand who you're hiring to keep them happy.
Right.
Um, that reminds me of just different ways you can retain your employees, um, in different ways. Like everybody has the same traditional things, but um, profit sharing, I think, is one way that would be really helpful. Um, so I feel like not a lot of people do profit sharing anymore, but that would be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because,
that's a nice perk
right.
or benefit to give to someone.
Hmm. I think gym memberships
Yes.
would be really important.
No, yeah, little things like that. Gym membership is a great one. Even maybe some additional perks or like membership somewhere that might help, just like little incentives. What's a good example of that? Gym membership being one,
Hmm.
but then maybe childcare
Oh, yeah.
or education, helping someone, get a certification, things like that,
Yeah.
that just go above and beyond, that shows that you're helping to enrich them and helping them grow.
Hmm. If they're in a role where you want them to travel around locally or whatever, have them have a car allowance. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just pulling that money out and showing like how you will incentivize them, or how you do pay them, or how you give benefits
Right.
helps.
Or even cell phone is another
Yeah.
one. Little things like that, meals if they're traveling a lot. And it doesn't need to be all the time, but occasionally.
Hmm.
Um, I was just thinking of one, and now I can't remember.
Okay. Well, school is starting or just started this week and next week for kids. And a huge retention piece would be understanding that your new employee has kids and they might need to take a half a day that day, or come in late and leave early, because everybody needs to drop off and pick up their kids that first day. There's
Mm-hmm.
no like aftercare. Usually it's not on that first day, and understanding that and giving them the time and not putting
Right.
that against them is important, I think.
Right. And nowadays, too, with kids maybe having to quarantine every so once in a while, just being understanding, because it's more stressful right now for everybody to, take time off and have to worry about that. So just make that like a stress free, no issue policy. That way your employees don't feel stressed out when they
Mhm.
do have to take off.
Right. What other ways can we retain our employees? I feel like we're constantly working on our culture. Like at
Yeah.
Next Path, personally, we have this awesome, fun culture, happy hours, random food, whatever. I mean, we have a blast,
Yeah,
but we're always working on it.
we are. And I think one thing that we do a good job of, and something that's good to keep in mind, is that if you hire a new employee and maybe they're not set up for like management yet, but that's what they eventually want to do, or they like planning things, then kind of give them small responsibilities, like, okay, next happy hour you're in charge of. So little things like that, or a volunteer activity, put them in charge of. That way they can feel a sense of that, being in charge of something or responsible for something, and they're going to be excited about it and eager about it to show you that they can do this. And it's little steps like that that will help them have that sense of, ownership and feeling worthy.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
What else? Maybe too, like in self-care arena, which is really important right now and all the time. But maybe a massage for, or sorry, a gift card for a massage.
Give your employees a massage. That's what we're telling you.
Yeah, or have a masseuse come in the office, and have a dedicated room where they can have a 10-minute massage, something like that. Donuts, lunches
Donuts. We're
occasionally.
talking about self-care. I
Self-care.
think being healthy and then you say donuts. I love it.
Well, self-care. For everyone, self-care is
This
different.
is true. This is true. There used to be someone who came into the office and had the massage chairs.
Yes.
And I
I
was
love that.
chatting with Kelly about that the other day, saying like we need to have them in here and just do a round of massages for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%. Let's do it.
let's do it.
Also, I think, first and foremost, too, it's important for your employees to feel safe in the office. And, I think that first of all goes to back to the beginning where we were saying, know what's important to your employees. If it's someone needs to, wear a mask, then make sure they can wear a mask if they want and don't feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I think it's just important for everyone to feel safe and comfortable in their environment,
Right.
and just having that there where they don't feel, kind of out of place, if that's what makes them feel comfortable, because everyone's
Right.
different.
Right. Like we have really low walls on our desks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of them we're talking about getting a little bit higher wall,
Yes,
and
the
just kind of like you said,
dividers.
a
Yeah,
little bit more safety feel.
right.
Yeah.
What are some other ways to attain, or sorry,
To retain employees.
retain?
Well, we just had this come up where there's an employee who has certain meetings maybe at the end of the day and might want to miss rush hour, right? Kind of get home, maybe do those meetings at home so that they're home. They can kind of start whatever dinner, but then have their meetings miss rush hour. And that's totally fine. I think employers need to start thinking outside the box with that, right?
Yeah.
Um, trusting your employee to complete that meeting, right? I mean, you're giving them enough leash, right? Enough. Oh, that's bad to say, but enough leeway to do
Right.
that, and you should try to give that to them. They don't have to do their work during, like you said earlier, like 8 to 5. Like give them a little bit of wiggle room there.
Yeah. No, I
Be
agree.
creative with each employee and each of their needs.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's different.
Right. And
Hmm.
I think, all of these things that we're saying, it keeps going back to the same thing, is knowing what is important to your employees, what is going to make them happy, and just being flexible.
Hmm.
You have to be flexible, because if you're not flexible, the next company will be.
That's true. That's true.
So knowing, what's important, and then being adaptable and flexible with that.
Hmm. Yeah, and again, you're putting all this time and energy into interviewing and finding the best talent and finding that skill set and that culture fit that you really want to make sure that you retain them.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of going on a side note, but I was just thinking other things that you could do is, maybe birthdays off or other perks like that, that might be some good incentives, and set yourself apart from, other companies. Or maybe do a fun, once a year, twice a year, either as an incentive or just, for no reason, company get together or a team outing or things like that, just to, you know, get out of the office and show that, you want to have fun, you want to do team building. And I think all of that is important as well.
I think what you said was key, doing a team outing like during work hours.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take up their
Right.
family time on the, in the evenings or the weekends. Like do it during a normal work day. Get the team together, go out and do something, whether it's charity, whether it's just having lunch, whatever. Oh, that's another thing. Having food. I feel like food is so important.
We're always eating.
We're always eating. We
And
have
chocolate.
like snacks galore, but then also we do lunches a lot of times.
Yeah, we do a lot of lunches.
We do. And I feel like you don't want anyone to be hangry.
Absolutely not. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think these are all great things. Even parking spots. These are all just little things you can do in addition. Like if your company doesn't have a parking lot, then paying for parking, or have like a special spot up front for like employee of the month, or, things like that, that just helps them have a sense of accomplishment. I think that's always fun to do.
Right. And speaking of, employee of the month and stuff like that, I don't know why that made me think of events, like having your employees, if they like this, right, join or attend events in your company's name, and they can be the representative, they can be the brand ambassador, and that just kind of gives them this feel of importance.
Right. No, I like that one, because that's something that like doesn't cost anything extra. You're going to be doing anyways. So why not send a representative of your company, not just an owner or, the leader, put another face out there. And then that way they can speak towards your company.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I think we could sit here and chat about like all these.
Yeah. If you have any other ideas, we get this question on a daily basis from our clients. So let us know if your company has done something different or unique or something that we didn't mention. Let us know, because we're happy to share that with our clients, because I think that's so important to know, and it's so competitive right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's candidate market. So employers have to step it up right now.
Yes. Email us at liveboldandbossup. Sorry, we don't have a website. liveboldandbossup@gmail.com.
Yep. We'll have liveboldandbossup.com.
That's right.
We need that.
Coming soon. We don't know when, but
all right, guys. Well, until next time, live bold and boss up.